because trauma and betrayal, all of that, it hits and shatters our sense of safety. So when something happens and you ask yourself that question, and then you ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe? That is your next step.
Welcome to More Than Small Talk. We're Susie Eller,
Jennifer Watson,
and Holly Girth, writers and real life friends. We're inviting you to go deeper, become freer, and feel more connected.
So imagine you have a cup of coffee, a mug of tea, or a green smoothie in your hand,
and we're all hanging out in your favorite place together.
Hey, More Than Small Talk friends. We're glad you're with us. For this episode, we have a guest that we are so excited to have a conversation with. And she is a trauma-informed licensed counselor, a coach, and a speaker with over 15 years of experience. Tammy Gustafson has written a new book, Broken to Brave, Your Courageous Act of Healing After Intimate Betrayal. And Tammy, we see a lot of books come through, and we all said this is a special book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is both tender and tactical, compassionate and practical. And I think that is a hard balance to hit. And it came out of pain in your own life, but also your professional life as a counselor. And so just up front, I want to say thank you for taking something broken in your life and making it something beautiful for other women who are going through a similar story. So we're so glad you're with us.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me. It's an honor.
I would love for you to touch on why you wrote this book. What inspired you? Because I think that that's a powerful thing that our listeners would want to connect with you on.
Yeah, well, I've been a counselor for over 15 years now, and always focused on trauma, but then 11 years, 2 days ago, my life blew up. And the truth about my husband's sexual integrity issues came out, and it shattered me. And we went through the very long, painful process of healing. But to be honest, I did not want to move into this professionally. Like, I wasn't actually one of the ones who wanted to use my pain for good.
Yeah.
But I felt as time went on that God really gave me opportunities and open doors that I chose to step through. And so this book really started being on my heart about 6 years ago. And it was really an act of obedience of, like, I feel like this is something that I am being asked to step into.
Yeah.
And I am now very passionate about helping betrayed partners, about helping women pick up the broken pieces of their heart and find their strength and being able to reclaim their worth and value, because we have one life to live. And we can heal through this and come out the other side and be even better. So I'm very passionate, and all that passion just
I
needed
love
to
it.
flow into the book.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, what I love too is you were reluctant, but somehow this became a conference. So you have the annual Betrayal Healing Conference. And so it's interesting to me how God works. Like he's trying to gently take us somewhere. We're dragging our feet. And he's actually trying to give us something beautiful. Tell us about the conference, how that works, how women can find out about that, and what led you to do that.
Yeah. The conference, what, nobody prepares you for betrayal. Like, no one thinks it's going to happen to them.
Right.
And when it does happen, you have no idea where to turn. And unfortunately, most of the helpers, even professionals, even those who have been in the field, who have all the things behind their name, if they don't have experience or training in this, then actually it can be very damaging. And so, one of the challenges when life shatters and life blows up is trying to get people connected to those who really understand and can walk them through this counterintuitive path of healing. And so, the conference kind of stemmed out of that. In my mind, I am gathering. I am gathering women who have been hurt and experiences devastating pain in their life and who are trying to heal and maybe don't know how. And I'm gathering and handpicking safe speakers and safe professionals who I do my absolute best to, and bring them together and create this space where healing can happen and where this connection can happen. So that's what I view my role. And I picture this big open field and I am just gathering everybody together so that there can be this place of healing. And
Yeah.
it's also really I'm really passionate about like, the conference itself is free. Like, people can upgrade and pay for an all access pass, but it is free, and I do that very intentionally because healing oh my gosh, it takes so much work to heal, and it's so expensive, and
Mhm.
some people will never have the funds to be able to get the help they need, or they're overseas in places that don't have the resources, and so I'm very passionate of, I want this message of healing and practical guidance for everyone who is struggling through this.
Wow.
So
So,
good.
again, very passionate about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
And you said, betrayal catches the partner off guard, but I think it also catches people in the partner's life off guard. And I love that about your book too, that like, yes, this is a book I would hand to someone going through this, but it was also so helpful to read to know how to better help. Like what does she need? What is not going to be helpful? What resources are there? And you talk about four phases of healing from betrayal in your book. So, can you walk us through those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first phase I call reveal, and that's when the truth about the fact that her partner has had or her husband has had a secret sexual life has come out. So that's the shattering. And so that first phase is all about the shock. It's all about trying to get your feet underneath you. And it's really about getting the truth. Because for healing to happen, that truth really needs to come out. Now, she can heal without it, but it's more difficult. And if the relationship has any chance of healing, there needs to be truth. And then moving in, we kind of follow the path of the relationship, moving into phase two. That's when either she has the full truth or she knows she's not going to get the full truth. And that has to
Mm.
become the foundation that she moves forward on healing in. And then that phase two is that really messy middle phase where you're not sure if he's going to do the work to get sober or to stop the acting out behaviors and to get healthy. And in the meantime, she is grieving and dealing with those emotions, setting boundaries, hopefully finding her voice and getting her feet underneath her. And then phase three, when you transition to that, that's where it becomes pretty clear the direction the relationship is headed. And that I outlined three paths because there's three areas or three ways that things could go. And the first path is redemption. And of course, everyone wants the redemption story, right? Where he has done the work, where she wants to stay, and there's healing happening within the relationship. But that's one path. Another path is divorce, where he's just not doing the work, or she's like, this is, I have to be done. And then there's this middle path that I call the roommate path. And that's where, he's done some work perhaps, but he hasn't really done all the work. But she does not want to leave. And there's so many valid reasons for this. A lot of times it comes down to she doesn't have the financial resources to take care of herself and perhaps her kids on her own, or she doesn't want to put her kids through a divorce. And so that's another path that a lot of women find themselves in. And then the fourth phase, phase three is realign. And then the fourth phase I call rebuild. And
Mhm.
this is one where everybody comes back together, no matter how their marriage ended or healed or whatever the case may be. And this is where there's enough calm. She's far enough out of crisis that she's like, I really need to focus on me and I need to heal. And I need to pick up these pieces of my life and I need to figure out what I want things to look like going forward. And it's really focused more on her healing. And this is where a lot of beautiful growth can happen.
That's awesome. I one of the things I was, intrigued by were the common misconceptions that people have about healing from betrayal, and could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of counterintuitive things about this healing process. And there's a lot of things that can get her stuck along the way. But I think one of the most important things to kind of set the foundation, and this is both for her to understand, for her husband to understand, and also for friends and family, is that this is never her fault.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It is
Thank you
never
for
her
that.
fault.
Yeah.
And I think we think of, you know, marriage without betrayal. It's 50-50, 100%, 100%, whatever you want to say. But no marriage is perfect. And so, even for all the different ways that things were not going great in the marriage, there are 100,000 things he could have done to address that within the marriage. So, the moment he chooses not to keep leaning into the marriage and addressing it, and crosses that line of sexually acting out and violating their marriage vows, that is 100% on him. It is never her fault. And that is something I I like to say as much as I can because I don't know of a betrayed partner, including myself, who did not take on that blame and did not take on shame and did not feel like it was their fault in the beginning. So, if you're listening and this is your story, I want you to know it is not your fault.
Mm.
Yeah, that was so powerful. That was one of the most powerful parts of the book for me, where you just said it's 100% not your fault. And you also even went in and said, this is what he's likely to say that makes you feel like it's your fault. And can you share some of that too? Because I think that people who hear that are like, oh, it's just me. But knowing like there's some common scripts that go around this that women can say, oh, yes, I know what that is because, Tammy told me about it in advance or in the middle of it. So can you walk us through that a little bit too?
Absolutely. It is wild. When you're going through it, you have no idea which way is up or down or whatnot. But one of the benefits that I have is being a clinician and having gone through it is there are so many patterns. There are so many patterns, and there's actually very predictable ways of healing. And like you said, there's very predictable things that men say when they're not in good healing. And I say in my book, it's like there is a book that all men read from who are not, no matter where they are in the world, no matter whether or not they come from a faith background or not, it is crazy. So things like, well, why can't you just get over it? I stopped doing it. Like, why don't you just trust me? Like, if you would just trust me, we could move on and we could move forward. Or, you know what? The reason why you're responding this way is because of the trauma of your childhood. It's because your dad was abusive or whatnot. And that's why you're overreacting to this, or a lot of focus on, you're making me feel bad, or, well, you were angry, or, well, you weren't having sex with me enough after the baby was born. And so X, Y, or Z. Like these are all very common. It's almost like verbatim. It's the most craziest thing, but it's almost like verbatim some of these things that are said, which is it's so painful when you hear those, but I do hope that you can hear this and going, "Yes, if you're hearing these from your husband, it's not you." Anytime they're shifting the blame, if you're talking to him about what he has done and your emotions, he should, if he's in good recovery, he is going to come at this with tenderness and not defensiveness. He's going to be able to hold space for your anger and pain. He's going to be able to own what he did and understand that it's not just what he did, but it's also what it did to you. It's all
Mhm.
the ripple effects that it has afterwards. And he's going to be able to create space and say, hey, however much time you need. And there's no pressure. And I want to heal because I want to heal and become the man that I want to be.
Mhm.
And I'm not, and in the beginning, they may heal, like, whatever motivation we can get in the beginning, that's fine. If he wants to heal for her so she doesn't leave, that's great. At some point in time, it has to go beyond that of, I want to become a man of integrity. And so I am going to lean hard into healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you give 3 questions that a woman can ask herself when that happens, right? Like, what happened? How do I feel about what do I need to feel safe? I don't know if I got those exactly right, but just wrapping up this little segment, can you share those too?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't remember exactly the questions. But I think what you're referring to is when something does happen, going, how do I respond to this?
Mm.
And so being able to take a little time out with yourself and just go, what did happen? Like, okay, I was asking or I was explaining how hurt I was about his affair or about his pornography use, and he blew up at me. That's what happened. How do I feel about that? Like, I'm scared, maybe I feel intimidated, or I'm angry, or I'm so sad, I feel so hopeless, whatever it is for you. And then the question of, what do I need to feel safe? And for somebody walking through betrayal, this is one of the key questions I want you to write down, embed in your mind, of asking yourself, what do I need to feel safe? Because trauma and betrayal, all of that, it hits and shatters our sense of safety. So when something happens and you ask yourself that question, and then you ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe? That is your next step. That's the next place for the boundary. That's your next step for healing. And that is crucial to also know, like, your safety, your wants and needs, they
Mhm.
matter and they're important.
So good.
So
Jennifer?
good. I love that. I mean, I really feel like this is going to help so many people. And it's such a brave thing for you to even write. And I know that you have all of this background experience, but thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. What's one small step someone can take, like right now, that's going through this?
Well, I would say if you were going through this, I highly recommend you connect with somebody who really knows about this. This is not a marriage counseling issue. This is not a marriage issue. This is a betrayal issue, and it's very different. And the healing process is very different. So you can certainly come to the Betrayal Healing Conference. You're going to get a lot of foundation. That would be helpful. You'll also be exposed to professionals who really understand this. But if you are already perhaps in counseling, or you're looking for a counselor, couple things I would recommend is ask them about this. Ask them if they have experience in this or specialized training in it. Not if it's something they do every once in a while. And if you ever get any indication that they're asking you, like making it your fault or implying that there's something you've done in this marriage, then I recommend you fire them and find somebody else, because it's going to hurt the process.
Yeah.
And so
So good.
you have the power and the right to do that. So I would
Yeah.
just encourage you. And also, last thing I would say with that too is, healing is possible. Healing is
Good. Yeah.
absolutely possible. It is a long, painful road, I'm not gonna lie, but you can absolutely heal.
That is amazing.
Mm.
And I want to end this with one question because I think it's really important. Because you write this book with hope, and I love that. It's honest, but it's hopeful. You mentioned that it's possible to reclaim yourself after betrayal. So let's just kind of break that down a little bit. What does it mean to reclaim yourself, and where do you begin?
Yeah. Well, betrayal shatters the good. The betrayal shatters everything you thought was good, right? We know that kind of instinctively, but betrayal also shatters the bad.
Mhm.
And so I think part of reclaiming yourself, there's a reclaiming process after betrayal, but sometimes it goes a lot earlier than that too. Like, a lot of us, me included, a lot of us came and had boxes that we were kind of squeezed into, or messages that we were told about how we were supposed to be as women, or what was acceptable, or maybe parts of us that were accepted and part not. And so we got covered up a lot of times, or we got squeezed into boxes. And so those patterns of the past, they also get shattered. Like, betrayal just like shatters everything. So I hate to use the word beauty, but one of the beauties of this is that this actually gives you the opportunity, especially as you get farther along, to really decide for yourself, like, hey, what parts of me maybe got lost or got buried a long time ago that I actually want to start leaning into more? Like, if I choose to stay in this marriage, how do I want this marriage to look like? Not what the patterns were from the past. We're not going back, but it's like, moving forward, what do I want to need out of this relationship? And then also, this process of, a lot of women feel like they lose themselves, and parts of them are die, and like fun. Like, I've lost fun. I've lost that playful or that carefree part of me. Like, I hear that a lot from clients. And going back and go, no, you didn't lose her. She's buried. She's kind of hunkered down in protection, but you go back and find her. Those parts of you that you love, You go back and lean in and you find her and bring her back in, and you get to determine, no one else, you get to determine who you want to be moving forward.
I love that. Well, this book got a 5-star rating from all 3 of us, and we would love for you to pick up the book Broken to Brave: Your Courageous Act of Healing After Intimate Betrayal. Tammy, tell them where they can find you, where they can find the book, and anything else you want to share.
Absolutely. The book, I think you can pick that up wherever books are sold. Certainly, it's on Amazon. And for me, best place to find me is on my website, which is tammygustafson.com.
All right. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the healing work that you're doing for other women. We appreciate you.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
And that's it for today's episode. Thanks for going deeper, becoming freer, and connecting with us. More Than Small Talk is a part of the KLRC Podcast Network and is produced by Kara Culver. Show notes and resources are available on the More Than Small Talk page on klrc.com. You can also join us in our Facebook group. Subscribe to More Than Small Talk on your favorite app so you won't ever miss an episode.